All right, hi, we're here again in the thick, and we're going international now with the Boston Liberty Project. Hey, please say your name and why you're here.
I'm Uriel. I'm from Spain. I live in Sweden, and I'm traveling around the US, and I came by because I'm a fan of Ron Paul. I've been following his career for some years now, I think, and I thought it's great that he's getting more publicity and more people are hearing about his message, and I think like people outside the US also should hear what he has to say and what he believes in and what many other people believes in. I think it's also more about the message than about the person.
So how did you originally hear about Ron Paul?
Actually, I don't remember. It must have been a few years ago. I've been sort of involved in libertarian and what we in Europe call liberal, like real liberal, like classical liberal, what Milton Friedman tried to regain the meaning of the word. But I've been involved with it for a long time, and then I was doing some research and I just found about his work in Congress and about his stand against the war and against taxes and against government regulation and all these things which other people outside the US also agrees with. But I think in the US there is more of a cultural, underground cultural movement, libertarian movement that is not that strong in Europe, but on the other hand, like it maybe comes from Europe at the same time, like all the Enlightenment ideas and so on. So it always interested me, and I think it's fascinating to follow this.
Now, and you mentioned pretty much, I'm going to go on the topic of semantics, like taking back the word being liberal or libertarian.
Yeah.
Especially in this country, on the flip side of that, taking back the meaning of the word and everything behind conservatism. Like, yeah. And that's with Ron Paul, I believe that's a huge issue, and I think people are really turned off, I mean, from what an actual conservative may be.
Yeah, I will think like it's different what conservative will mean in Europe than what it means here, because here your country, it was founded on the basis of this libertarian freedom ideology. So that's like modern for us, like conservative for us will be like government control, monarchy and so on, but here your conservative ideas that it's basically what the country was founded on are this freedom and this control, like getting rid of this diminishing government, like empowering the individual, and that's what conservatives should mean in the US, I think, like giving power to the individual and getting the government out of the way. And I think that's, I think politicians are very good at manipulating the meaning of words and making it mean something totally different. And I think it's important for people to stand up and say, we are conservative, we are liberals, but in the true senses of the word, and we stand for what this country stands for. And well, I mean, it's not my country, but I think it's a wonderful, I mean, I admire America and the US because of those ideals that made it great, and I think it's what made it the country that many people in other countries look up to.
And through that, and you mentioned, you're not a citizen of the you're not in this country, but essentially, in many ways, we're all part of that global village, as McCullen would say, and that's how you come to find Ron Paul. Essentially, we're the revolution, as you probably heard it and seen it all today, Ron Paul revolution. Now, and as I was talking to a young girl, Valor, today about it, that has a lot, especially I can imagine in Europe, the negative connotation or the violent connotation of the word revolution. And right here, perhaps, or maybe I'm overstepping my bounds, but
actually, like in Europe, it has more of a positive revolution, like the French Revolution. We had to fight to get this freedom. And I think in the US, you also are historically very aware that revolution was needed to be able to overthrow the oppressive government, either be from the British or from the French monarchy or whatever. So revolution sometimes always, and I think the founders of the US, that was one of the things they understood, that, and that's why you got the Second Amendment and things like that, that they understood that government will tend to get out of control and that people will have to, from time to time, get up and stand up for themselves and for their freedom, because otherwise government will just take over. So revolution is, I think it's like a process, and you have to have new revolutions, but I think what's beautiful is that now we can have a very peaceful revolution, and that can work too. So I think I'm optimistic, although it's difficult times. I also want to say that there is quite a few people in Europe that follow what Ron Paul is doing and support him. And it's not, we are not all socialists in Europe. There are true liberals that believe in true freedom, and we are very enthusiastic about this. And we hope that also if he becomes successful in the US, more people like him in Europe will also become more popular, and we will be able to become free, more free in the US and more free in all the world, and have more trade and more real friendship between nations and become more prosperous in the whole world.
Political and economical domino effect.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.